All right, everybody, welcome back to News Now from Fox. Like promised, we are live right now with Fox 13 Tampa's Elizabeth Fry because Elizabeth, the Super Bowl is now being considered and called by, some medical experts a super spreader event. So why is that, Elizabeth?
Hey, good morning, Regina. Well, first things first, there was a whole lot to celebrate here in Tampa on Sunday night. Obviously, we were all very excited to see the Bucs win the Super Bowl, defeat the Chiefs, but that celebration, health experts are now saying, could have come at a pretty steep cost. And that's because after the game, everyone took to the streets, thousands and thousands of people that were out at the bars outside of Ray J. They all took to the streets celebrating. They were obviously very excited, shouting, cheering. And one thing that can be very noticeable in these videos is that not a lot of these people were wearing masks. So health experts, they've been looking at these videos, and it's obviously been very concerning because we're not going to know just how big the effects of this celebration will actually be for a couple of weeks. But right now it doesn't look too good. Just so many people all in one place. Of course, health experts, local leaders, they've been really trying to warn against this for weeks, saying that if you are out celebrating, please do it safely. But in the excitement, it really seems that a lot of those precautions, safety precautions and logic were kind of just thrown to the wayside in all the excitement.
Yeah, and Elizabeth, speaking of local officials, we saw that Mayor Jane Castor spoke at a press conference yesterday mentioning these videos, and it did not seem too happy. What did she exactly have to say?
Yeah, she wasn't happy, and that really goes for all the local leaders here in our area. But she, first applauded those who did follow the rules and were celebrating safely, wearing their masks. But for the thousands of people, we saw the videos, the thousands of people that were out in the street not wearing masks and celebrating, she wasn't too happy. She expressed her frustration yesterday during a press conference, saying she was very disappointed, and also reminded these folks that there is a mandatory mask order in place in the entertainment zones. So that would be in the more popular areas where there's a lot of bars, like Channel Side, South Howard, Ybor City, and these are the places where we saw all these crowds. So she was frustrated because obviously they'd worked very hard to make these events as safe as possible for both visitors and locals alike. That's why they put this mask mandate in place, and to not see it followed was very frustrating. So going forward, of course, we still have more celebrations to come since the Bucs did win. We're going to have parades, a lot of other things happening down here in the Bay Area, and she is keeping that mask mandate in place, and she's hoping that this time people will actually follow those rules so that we don't see videos like we did on Sunday night.
And now, Elizabeth, I know we're talking about the celebrations, but I know that health experts also seem concerned about the amount of people actually inside Raymond James for the Super Bowl. A lot of them were healthcare workers. Do you feel that this is also a main concern to local officials?
I think what we've heard is that the folks that were inside Raymond James Stadium, there was a lot of protocols in place to keep them as safe as possible. Obviously the NFL, the city of Tampa, everyone that was involved in that planning, they knew there was going to be a lot of eyes on the Super Bowl. They went to great lengths to put this on as safely as possible. Of course, not having as many people inside the stadium, enforcing that mask order. So I think right now, while there may have been a few people inside the stadium that weren't exactly following the rules, the main concern for health experts is what was happening outside of the stadium, outside of the bars, really what was happening in the places that weren't as controlled and regulated as Raymond James Stadium was. So right now, they say, looking at these videos of everyone out crowding the streets, they're going to be keeping a very, very close eye on these case numbers. And they say in the next 3 to 6 weeks, we'll truly start to see just how big of an effect these celebrations actually have on our COVID case numbers.
And we will continue to follow that information. Elizabeth Fry with Fox 13 Tampa, thank you so much for being live with us on News Now from Fox with this report.
Of course. Thank you so much.
We are continuing to follow all of the top headlines this morning, specifically one being that former President Trump's historic second impeachment trial is set to begin this afternoon. We will be bringing you live coverage of that this afternoon here on News Now from Fox. But in the meantime, we have Doug Lazater with us on News Now from Fox. Not live. He was speaking with Pilar Arias a little bit earlier, but this time, this is his full report on what we can expect today, specifically the structure of how the former president plans to defend himself and the arguments that we could be hearing on this first day. So let's get that report from Doug Lazater here on News Now from Fox.